Hello students, today we are going to look at land pollution. Basically it is one of the topic of it is basically soil pollution only, but there are various categories in this which we are going to look at. Okay, right? So land pollution. Now what is land pollution? Land pollution refers to the deterioration of Earth's land surfaces. Okay, right. It occurs mainly due to the indirect and direct effects of human activities. So it is basically deterioration of Earth's land surface. It doesn't mean that the plates are moving. Okay, plates are in motion, but this is basically because of the indirect or the direct effects of human beings. Okay, now if you see, if the people are keeping on digging up mountains. Okay, now the mountains are raised because the plates are moved, they come together and they move upwards. Okay, but if the people are digging up these mountains, these plates are getting disturbed. Okay, now these plates are getting disturbed and we are getting earthquakes. So indirectly we have affected the atmosphere here or the land here. And direct methods, we are actually polluting the land with very major pollutants which are being dumped into the system onto the land. Okay, then we will see the causes of land pollution. Now when we say causes of land pollution, now there are various causes which contribute to this pollution. Then the various substances that can spill on land can cause land pollution. Then these substances have different sources of origin. So there are various causes. There are multiple causes because of which land can get polluted. Okay, then you will have various substances that spill on the land that cause land pollution, and then these substances have different sources of origin. Say for example, you are traveling in a car, okay, and you are drinking a plastic bottle which is containing cool drink. Okay, now generally what is our tendency? We don't stop and look for a garbage bin and dump in that. We just put our window down and we just throw the plastic outside. Okay, right? Now that plastic is getting accumulated anywhere. Okay, it is getting accumulated everywhere, and because of that it is causing the pollution of the land, because the plastic doesn't allow the water to seep into the land. Okay, right? Now next is the most common causes of land pollution are, first one is garbage, second one is factories, third one is farming, and fourth one is mining. Okay, so please don't mistake here. Farming, how is it polluting? Because of wrong agricultural practices which I have seen in the earlier session. Okay, so we are going to see that. All right, then moving on, garbage. Okay, now garbage is the most common cause of land pollution. Okay, garbage is the most common cause of land pollution. Okay, then you will find garbage in every household. So every household will give out garbage. Okay, even in my house we get garbage every day. Then tons of garbage are produced by common households annually. So there are tons and tons of garbage which is being produced by the house annually in the sense yearly. Okay, now when such massive amount gets generated, the ways to dispose of it falls short. Okay, so the population is increasing, the generation of garbage is also increasing, but the disposing of garbage is becoming a very big problem these days. Okay, now therefore all this garbage gets dumped onto land. Obviously there is no other option but this garbage goes and gets dumped onto the land. And mind you, in the outskirts of many cities you will see big mountains. Okay, now that mountains is basically nothing but your garbage which you have been generating annually, and that is being dumped onto the dumping sites, and that has become a heap or it has become a big mountain. Okay, right. Now therefore all this garbage gets dumped onto land. This land of disposal is referred to as landfill. Obviously that mountain whatever is formed, that mountain is called as the landfill, because we are actually continuously filling up the land with garbage. Okay, now it is basically a waste of free land which also gives birth to new problems. So there is a land which is free, but you are actually contaminating it with your garbage. Okay, so when you are doing that, you will get various other problems. So if you are burning, if there is any burning happening in the landfill and your house is very near to that, you will get a lot of toxic smokes which are coming out into the household. And now when these toxic fumes come into your household, when you breathe them, you will get various respiratory problems. Okay, now for instance, these landfill release toxic gases that harm living beings as well as the ozone layer. So you know that CFCs, chlorofluorocarbons, these are harmful gases which are released into the atmosphere, and these go and break the ozone molecule. So you know that ozone is O3. So these CFCs will go and break down the ozone molecule into oxygen plus one more oxygen atom. Okay, so they are breaking it like this, or I can also write it as two oxygen molecules. So the ozone layer is broken down. Okay, right? And because this ozone layer is broken down, the ultraviolet rays come and infect our skin, which causes a new problem, which is the skin cancer. Okay, right. Moving on, factories. Now when I say factories, factories contribute largely to the land pollution. Obviously, because we are the species which are with a lot of requirements. Okay, now because we are a species of lot of requirements, obviously the land pollution also will be very, very high. Okay, now they produce toxic waste products and chemicals which prove very damaging to land. Okay, so these will produce toxic waste products which are very, very damaging to the plant. Okay, and they are proving very, very damaging because these factories release some chemicals onto the land itself without neutralizing them. Okay, now when they don't neutralize, these chemicals enter into the waters, enter onto the land, and they reduce the pH, which was supposed to be maintained at 5.5 to 7. They reduce the pH, they make it acidic. Okay, right? So they make it more acidic. 5.5 is acidic only, but they further reduce the pH of the soil. So because of which the plants cannot grow properly. Okay, then furthermore, these factories dump off their wastes in the lands and water bodies, as I told you just now. While some countries have stringent laws against this, some do not. This increases the land pollution. So some countries follow this disposal very, very strictly. Okay, but other countries, some of the countries, they do not. Okay, so this increases the land pollution problem. Now, India was in this category that some do not have stringent laws, but now because of the Swachh Bharat Abhiyan started by the Prime Minister Narendra Modi, these laws have become stringent and it is being showing effect. Okay, right? So the government which is now present in the center, they have started one more Ganga action plan. Okay, right? One more Ganga action plan which is called as Gange. Okay, right? So Gange cleaning project. Okay, so Ganga cleaning project. Okay, so this Ganga cleaning project cleared most of the pollution in the river Ganga. So river Ganga was very much polluted. So they were now able to see the Ganga river dolphins. So the biodiversity there increased. So in our country also these laws have become stringent. Okay, moving on, farming. Okay, now we know farming is very important for every person. So farming is very, very important for every person. They fulfill our food demands. So our demands are fulfilled by the farmers, okay, by doing farming. However, irresponsible farming becomes very harmful sometimes. So as I told you, excess use of chemical fertilizers and pesticides and insecticides actually increases the risk of getting bedridden. Okay, right. Now clearing of forests for land area in order to farm makes way for land pollution. Okay, so the forests are there. Now what are we doing? We are actually keeping on clearing those forests for our need. So when we are doing that, what are we doing? We are actually polluting our land. So when we are polluting our land, we are not able to give a proper atmosphere. Okay, because of that the air is getting polluted. Moreover, the insecticides and fertilizers sprayed on the crops also damage the land. Now, how are they damaging? When they are sprayed on the crops, they are falling on the land and they are polluting the land. Okay. Now, that is basically the adverse effects of farming. Okay, bad agricultural practices. Then, you have mining. So, it is yet another activity that contribute to land pollution. So, it is one more activity which is contributing to the land pollution. Now, in order to obtain coal and minerals, we dig holes into the land. This results in land erosion. So, you know that there are coal fields in our country, and how are we doing it? We are actually digging the land continuously for getting the coal. So, when we are doing that, when that process is being done, then what is happening here? The land is getting eroded. So, when the land is getting eroded, what is happening? The land is getting lost. Okay, right? Then similarly, it also produces harmful gases and toxins which results in contaminated land as well as air. So, when this mining is done, okay, there is a lot of contaminated toxins and gases which get released into the atmosphere. Now, say for example, there is a vegetation on the top. Now, if you are mining from the bottom, the roots are exposed. Okay, the roots don't get the nutrients to absorb for the plant, and on the top the plant will automatically die. So, this mining is also one of the major cause of land pollution. Okay, moving on. Some other causes of excuse me, some other causes for land pollution. Now, what are those other causes? Pollution in soil has adverse effects on plant growth and living organisms in the soil. Okay, right. Pollution in soil is associated with indiscriminate use of fertilizers. That is the one thing. Then pesticides. Okay. Then insecticides and herbicides. Dumping of large quantities of solid waste, deforestation and soil erosion. Okay. So, these are the factors which cause, okay, these are the factors here which are the major cause, which are some of the other causes of land pollution. So, we will see the first one, indiscriminate use of fertilizers and pesticides. So, this is the one, the indiscriminate, that is uncontrollable use of fertilizers and pesticides. Okay, let's go on with it. Now, soil nutrients are important for plant growth and development. So, we all know that they are very, very important. Now, plants obtain carbon, hydrogen and oxygen from air and water. We also know this one. But other necessary nutrients like nitrogen, phosphorus, potassium, calcium, magnesium, sulfur, etc. must be obtained from the soil. Okay. So, all these nutrients, they have to be obtained from the soil. Okay, right? So, what do the farmers do? They generally use fertilizers. Okay, right? They generally use fertilizers to correct these deficiencies in the soil. So, when they are doing that, what is happening? Fertilizers contaminate the soil with impurities. Obviously, these are chemical fertilizers, so they will definitely contaminate the soil with impurities, which come from the raw material used for manufacture. Okay. So, they come from the raw material which are used for the manufacture. Okay, right. Mixed fertilizers often contain nitrogen as ammonium nitrate, NH4NO3. Okay. So, ammonium nitrate, if we are looking at nitrogen as a source, so we use ammonium nitrate which can be absorbed by the plant. Phosphorus as phosphorus pentoxide, okay, P2O5, and potassium as potassium oxide, which is K2O. Now, for instance, arsenic, lead, and cadmium present in traces in rock phosphate mineral gets transferred to superphosphate fertilizer. So now this superphosphate fertilizer, okay, now this is also a chemical fertilizer which is getting sprayed. And how are they getting? These arsenic, lead and cadmium, what are they doing? These are present in traces in the rock phosphates mineral and get transferred to superphosphate. So these get transferred to superphosphate, and when these are being absorbed by the plants, the plant growth reduces, the yield reduces, and when you are eating them, all these harmful chemicals or elements are entering into your system and they are affecting your health very, very badly. Okay. Then moving on, plants on which we depend for food are under attack from insects. You all know this. When plants on which we depend for food are under attack of insects, fungi, bacteria, virus, rodents and other animals. Okay. And the plants which we are growing, they also compete with weeds for nutrients. So weeds, they also are present on the farm which we are cultivating, and these weeds suck up the nutrients which we are putting, in turn reducing the growth of the plant we are interested in. Okay. Now, to kill unwanted populations living or on their crops, farmers use pesticides. So obviously what the farmers will do, in order to kill all these substances, all these biological agents and also non-biological agents, the farmers will use pesticides. I beg your pardon, not non-biological uses, the biological. These are called as pests. Basically, they are called as pests. So they are biological agents, and these are getting killed by the use of pesticides. Okay, right? So the farmers have no option but to use them. Okay, right? So because of that, what will happen? The growth of the plant is affected. Okay, right? In order to control that, the farmer is getting a loss in their growth. Okay, or the loss in their yield. Okay, then the first widespread insecticide used began at the end of the World War II, that include DDT. DDT is dichloro, diphenyl, trichloroethane. Okay, this is a very, very toxic chemical. And gamaxin, you know gamaxin, which is put here to strive away the ants. Insects soon became resistant to DDT. So the major thing is, this DDT was so extensively used that insects became resistant to it. Okay, and as a chemical did not decompose readily, it persisted in the environment. So because these chemicals, they don't get disintegrated very easily, they are persistent in the environment. So when they are persistent in the environment, they will not be able to get removed from the environment, and they keep on polluting the land even further. So in today's class, we have seen the land pollution part, okay, and we have seen the causes of land pollution, and we have seen the most common ones, okay, of land pollution, like the garbage, factories, farming and mining. So we have seen them in detail: garbage, factories, farming and mining. Then we have also seen some other categories, some other causes of land pollution, that is use of fertilizers and pesticides. Then insecticides and herbicides we will see in the later part of the session. Okay, right? Then, so this is the chemicals which are used, and these are the pesticides which are used, like say the DDT and the gamaxin. They are major pesticides which are used, and they are still polluting the land. Okay, so we should be concentrating on reducing the pollution to the land by using biological methods which are eco-friendly. Okay, thank you so much. I'll see you in the next session.